Check 1-2, radio check. Still. On the bound through the corner, lane up through the trial zone. Not sure why we did that. I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody get to the bottom. We should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Out of the gas, slow down, man. Somebody's got it up right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs are live when it's Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland and Garland leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done. As the Mexico.
Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray. Louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the fray.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's America's home for racing, and this is going to be an absolutely amazing day of action again here at the Outcast Racing League as the ORL Motorsports 300 here this evening, as it will be 125 laps laps of absolutely action-packed racing action here with the Outcast Racing League. Huge shout out there to the ORL Motorsports Group for coming on board as our sponsors here this evening. As let's take a look here at the crew chief information. Let's see if we can find it here. There, all right, there's our crew chief breakdown. As you get a good look at it here, you get a good look at what is going to happen here. Obviously, for these drivers, you know, they know it's a 1.5 mile racetrack. Pit road speed, that is going to come into play here. You got to make sure you don't speed down pit side, give yourself a black flag, potentially take yourself out of the running here in this race. And then you take a look at the stages. Lap number 30 and lap number 60, the completion of each of those laps will be the end of stage 1 and end of stage number 2, and that's right at that fuel distance marker, you know, that 30 to 32 laps on a fuel run. So for a lot of these drivers, you got to be wondering about when can you come down pit road. You try to save a little bit throughout these stages to make sure that you can complete that fuel run and basically make, you know, maybe 3 pit stops here this evening. You only got 3 sets of tires, so making sure that you can use all 3 sets of tires maybe somewhere around, you know, lap 30, lap 60, and then maybe split that final run and kind of come back down pit road somewhere around lap number 92, 93, somewhere in there, and give yourself that area to kind of get to the end of this race. So I think for fuel mileage, a lot of these drivers are going to have that in the back of their mind here to try to work themselves into the show. And again, as we talked about, the Outcast Racing League Motorsports, the ORL Motorsports Group being our sponsor here this evening. As Anthony Garland and his real-life motorsports team coming on board as a sponsor here for this race. And a huge shout-out there to Anthony. Take a look there at his beautiful Crown Vic race car right there. He actually has a couple race cars now in the series. Get a good look at the trophies and him with the trophies as well. Let's go through a bit of his write-up here as gave us a quick little inside, as he says, you know, he does this for, you know, real life racing outside of iRacing. Fielded 1 car for most of the season, and towards the end, he was able to put in a 2nd car on track. Last night, they had their award ceremony. He finished 5th in points out of 27 cars, which is definitely very respectful. You know, that's a lot of drivers, a lot of cars, and being able to come home 5th in points is absolutely insane. And he also took home the Rookie of the Year in the Crown Vic division there at Star Speedway as well. Now, he does have another award ceremony at Lee Speedway in January, and potentially looking to add another car to have 3 cars next season in these Crown Vics. So that's absolutely amazing, man. Huge shout out there to the ORL Motorsports Group and Anthony Garland and team for coming home with the Rookie of the Year, 5th in points, and now looking to try to have a good run here this evening in our iRacing side of things, as each and every one of these drivers will get ready to slide out onto the speedway here as the green flag about to come right at you. Here in this one is starting on the pole in the number 48 ride, the must-love Poodles machine, is Grant Humphrey, who will qualify in the pole position. To his outside, it's Corey Crowell, who will start there in 2nd. Starting in 3rd will be the 15 of Cameron Combs. It'll be the Overton's number 76 of Caleb McKinney starting there in 4th. Starting back in that 5th position, that is the ORL Motorsports driver right there, that number 81 of Anthony Garland, who will start there in 5th. He has Devin Black to his outside. Josh Bromfield and Al Reed back in row number 4 as Rob Tuisco and Casey Gross in the Quantum Motorsports 77 ride round out our top 10. The 60 of Mr. Johnny Thunders, the 02 of Lancaster. They are in row number 6 with Kurt Sponsler, Chris Muse, Wayne Garland, Billy Jordan, James Garland in the 37, Nicholas Barton, Edward Belair, Mike Killingbeck, Gary Wright, and Tyler Humphrey, rounding out our 22 car field here this evening. From the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we end all of the anticipation with our feature presentation, and quickly we already see some action. Around goes the 2, around goes the 15. Oh, heartbreaker here on the opening lap, and I don't know, have we seen a yellow flag? No yellow flag as of yet, so we're going to keep it clean and green. Both drivers down and off the racing surface, as the 48 rider Grant Humphrey will say thank you very much for that one, and he'll look to continue to pull farther and farther away for Rob Tuisco He gained a ton of positions right there. Anthony Garland did end up with a little bit of right front damage there. You see that damage on that 81 machine. Man, that's a tough break here to start this race as Grant Humphrey will lead lap number 1 here this evening. So Humphrey out in front, but let's take a look back and see how this crazy start kind of got underway, man. Couple fast cats, couple great drivers. Let's take a look here as the 76 in the 2 ride in the outside lane. I don't know if they make contact, and that's kind of what gets this 2-car jacked up right here. So take a look on the outside as you're going to see Corey Crowell in the 76 right here. There's contact and maybe a little tire spin out of the 2, and he's just going to go around, washes down the racetrack right into the lap of Cameron Combs. That's where you see Anthony Garland get in there. He ends up getting a big piece of that number 2 ride. And look at the 3 ride of Al Reed having to squeeze right on through there. Somehow or another, he makes his way down through the infield, keeps that car rolling, but does lose a ton of positions there early on himself. So obviously some tough breaks early on, and no caution flag as Reed's going to go right to the back of the pack here himself. Able to keep it pointing in the right direction, though, and keep on rolling. Alrighty, so that was the craziness to start this race, and out in front, taking over, having the race lead, having that pole position. The Must Love Poodles, number 48, of Grant Humphrey. He's sitting in a pretty decent spot as Rob Tuwisku continues to lay down really quick lap times here. He is definitely pushing it to the front of the pack as the 6th ride up and into 2nd, trying to reel in our race leader, Casey Gross, now up and into 3rd, and Chris Muse there in 4th. All 3 of those drivers in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position are up 7 to 9 positions here. Tuwisku, Casey Gross, both up 7 spots. Chris Muse up 9 spots here on the racetrack as they continue their march towards the front. Anthony Garland trying to hang on to position number 5 right now, but it does look like Johnny Thunders will take it away from him. Caleb McKinney back into 7th as Kurt Sponsler Jr. Chad Lancaster and Wayne Garland round out our top 10 here on the Speedway. You see James Garland and Josh Bromfield right here battling door to door. This is for the 11th position on the racetrack as Anne Marie says, go number 37. James Garland says that she loves him. Well, I'm sure he's feeling that love here this evening. And for James Garland, he's looking to try to race his way inside the top 10 as he makes the pass not only on the 12, but also on his father there, though, number 84. Wayne Garland, as Wayne will also go a lap down. So the 84 slot, or not a lap down, will go behind him here as James able to make that pass, jump inside the top 10 as Wayne does fall back now into that 12th position, loses another position there as Mike Killingbeck also gets around him. Now Killingbeck looking to try to move his way up inside the top 10 as he looks underneath that 37. You do see Wayne Garland bounce it off the outside fence there in corner number 2, and then we saw the 12 of Bromfield also bank it off the wall right there as well. So early on, quite a few drivers finding that outside fence, quite a few drivers earning their stripes early on this evening. Now you do see Billy Jordan and Al Reed both trying to work their way up towards the front here. Al trying to rebound from that earlier incident, and you look farther back here, deeper in the field, you do see that 15 of Cameron Combs. He's back in 21st, and for Corey Crowell, he's in 22nd, and right now for Corey Crowell, he's about 23 seconds behind our race leaders. That's the back straightaway is the difference here between his 48 ride potentially putting that 2 machine a lap down here early on this evening. And if you're Corey Crowell, you got to be a little bit nervous, man. There's still about 12 laps or so in this race, or in this first stage. No, more than 12. We got 30 laps here, so about 21 laps now before the end of stage number 1 here this evening. So the 41 ride, or 48 ride, man, numbers are hard for me tonight. The 48 ride out in front, he's got a lot of laps, he's got a lot of time. If he can slowly but surely track down this number 2 machine, who may have a little bit of extra tire wear, maybe a little bit of damage after that opening lap contact and incident for the 2 machine, if he does lose a lap early in this race could put Corey Crowell into a very difficult position. Cameron Combs may be in that same boat as well. Right now, he's about 7 seconds in front of Corey Crowell. Now we do see Tyler Humphrey. Looks like Tyler Humphrey in that Isabel's Impact Camaro going to come down pit side. So for Humphrey, we've seen this quite a few times in the series. A start in park here. He runs about 9-10 laps. Looks like he's going to take this car down pit side. His night may be done early here this evening, but for his brother here on the racetrack, twin brothers there between Grant Humphrey and Tyler Humphrey. Looks like Tyler's day may come to an early end, but for Grant Humphrey, he's out in front leading this race. As there you go, you do see Tyler is down pit side. Looks like he may stay down there. Looks like he's going to get 4 tires onto this thing, so maybe he's getting some tires. Maybe he's just making a pit stop. I don't think he would be, and yeah, there you go. So pit stop is done, and he is going to stay down pit side. I believe that car may sit down there for the rest of this evening. As Jen says, go Chris. Number 99 says, get a podium finish, as Muse trying to work his way still towards the front here. The 99 right early on, able to jump up 9 positions in the Monster Energy machine. Finds himself now in position number 4 and looking for more. Then it's Caleb McKinney back there behind McKinney, one of those drivers that kind of got tied up, kind of got a little bit of damage and a little bit of rough run in there. On the opening lap, he started right behind that 2 ride. Man, that was just a crazy start to a race, man. Not very often do you see a crazy start like this. Not very often do you see issues off our initial start, and you're going to see a little contact of the 76 and the 2, a little tire spin out of Corey Crowell as well, and they just stack up down low. You see Cameron Combs nowhere to go. The 2 ride goes around, contact and damage there for that 81 at Anthony Garland. You see quite a few of these positions that the number 76 loses right here, and that's where a lot of these drivers down low are able to move forward. They're able to get big runs. You see Devin Black with some front end damage there as well, getting into the back end of that 76 ride. So early on, a lot of damage, a lot of carnage, but no caution flag, and we keep it clean and green as Grant Humphrey continues to lead the way. This time down through 3, nice and easy, out of corner number 4 for the Must Love Poodles, number 48 ride. Grant Humphrey will complete lap number 15 here this evening. He's got about a 1-second gap between himself and Rob Tuwiscu now, as he's got that decent lead. He's halfway through this first stage, and he's trying to reel in a few drivers to maybe put them a lap down, maybe put them into a tough position early in this race. As Corey Crowell still sitting back here in 21st. Wayne Garland now slides back into the 20th position. We saw Wayne get up into the outside fence there about 8 laps or so ago, and obviously that right front damage proving very difficult for that 84 ride, not wanting to come down pit road, knowing that that would definitely put him a lap down in this Dark Horse Motorsports Outcast Racing League number 84 ride. So not wanting to make this pit stop until the end of the stage, but man, it is definitely affecting his ride. It has definitely got him way off the pace here. He's just trying to keep it out of the fence, trying to minimize any more additional damage here, but that right front contact definitely affecting his ride as he continues to slide backwards. And the same goes for, I believe, his son here, the 81 of Anthony Garland. Is Anthony off that initial start, the contact, he kind of went sideways there, didn't really have anywhere to go, and ended up making hard contact with the 2 rider Corey Crowell, and he ended up with some pretty solid right front damage as well. And you can see this number 81 continuing to fall farther and farther back as Al Reed trying to battle his way back up towards the front here. Al Reed back inside the top 10, so after kind of getting tied up in that bit of a spill, had to split the 15 and that number 2 ride down through the infield. Started up towards the front here, started about that 7th position, basically went straight to the back of the pack there on that opening lap. And for the 3 ride, still trying to look to rebound, trying to get himself back into the battle and racing his way now inside the top 10, showing some good speed out of that RT3 Design ZZX Digital number 3 machine. But it's all Grant Humphrey as Humphrey continues to lead the way. Humphrey out in front, 19 laps completed, 11 laps left to go here in stage number 1. 1.3 seconds the gap between himself and Rob Tuwiscu. Tuwiscu may have a little company here as the 77 of Casey Gross. Casey now right there into this battle as well. So Casey Gross looking to try to maybe jump up into position number 2. Some very valuable, points on the line here, as this is our final regular season race of the season. So for a lot of these drivers, knowing that this is the final race of the regular season, drivers are trying to earn all the points that they can get, and I do believe for a lot of these cats, it is going to bring them a really good picture here. I don't know why this is going to downloads. All right, that's interesting. There we go. Let's save this as something like that. All right, let's see if we can get the point standings up here real quick as stage number 1 coming to a close. Caleb McKinney came into this race with the points lead, trying to look for that regular season championship. Obviously now early on, issues for Cameron Combs. McKinney still battling here. He's just running in that 7th position. Al Reed and Combs were hoping that he would have a bad run, a bad race, and that they could potentially jump up and earn some valuable points here this evening over that number 76, but it should be Caleb McKinney's regular season championship here this year, biting some more major issues for that 76 ride. For Combs and Reed, they're tied in points. They should have a good battle here, and for Grant Humphrey, he's out front leading this thing. If he can get some big stage points, a good finish, he could potentially jump up there, gain a bunch of points as well. As I do believe right now it's looking like our points here are going to be very, very tight for a lot of these drivers, as the McKinney ride, Combs, Reed, Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey, Corey Crowell, Mike Killingbeck, Chris Muse, Casey Gross, Devin Black, and Rob Tuwiscu are all locked into the playoffs right here. But for Josh Bromfield, Kurt Sponsler, Johnny Thunders, and I do believe Anthony Garland and Chad Lancaster, they're all right now above that cut line. They are all right now in the picture frame here of being able to make it into our playoffs here. Gary Wright, who currently runs in that 12th position, he's the first car on the outside of the points looking in. Dom Salvo, who's not here tonight, unfortunately he's back and just outside the playoffs, so does it look like Dom will be a part of the playoffs here this year. For Edward Belair, for Wayne Garland, they need good runs here to try to put themselves in the playoffs. Same with James Garland, needing a lot of points or even potentially a win to make it in to the playoffs here this evening. And the other one, Billy Jordan, another driver needing a big run here this evening, and some issues for Lancaster or Anthony Garland to really give them a shot at potentially being able to work themselves into our top, I do believe, 16 drivers. I do believe top 16 drivers advancing into the playoffs here. So a lot of points on the line still here tonight. Obviously a lot of drivers trying to get everything they can, trying to solidify their playoff position or trying to help themselves out here. Maybe give them a better spot in the regular season standings. Maybe try to earn some extra bonus points for our rounds and trying to work themselves into the Championship 8 at Daytona International Speedway in a few short weeks from now. As Grant Humphrey, though, out in front, continuing to lead the way, getting closer and closer to our stage break is Casey Gross there in second. Rob Tuwiscu back in third. Chris Muse and Kurt Sponsler Jr. rounding out our top 5 here on the racetrack. Right now, all top 5 looking to earn some stage points, as we did see Wayne Garland unfortunately did lose a lap here. Wayne is a lap down. He's hoping to say only a lap down as of right now. He's in that free pass position, but for the 84, does have to make a trip down pit side. For Corey Crowell, he's been able to keep himself on the lead lap. He's able to keep Grant Humphrey back here behind him. He's close a few seconds on him, but not enough to be able to jump up and potentially lap that 2 ride, and biting a late run issue here for that number 2 machine. He should be able to keep himself on the lead lap here in stage number 1, get himself back into the battle here towards the front of the field. So we'll see if he can rebound from that early contact and spin down through the infield on lap number 1. As Grant Humphrey, though, out in front, he's been on cruise control here. He's looking to be that reflection of perfection in the must-love Poodles number 48, as he has led every lap here this evening, started in that pole position and looking for our first stage win of the day. Is down and out at corner number 4, back down across the line. He will see only 1 lap left to go here in this stage. So they've completed 29 laps. At the completion of lap number 30, the next time by the start-finish line will end our first stage of the day. He's got about a second gap between himself and Casey Gross. Chris Muse there in third with Rob Tuwiscu back in fourth. Kurt Sponsler there in position number 5 on the Speedway is down through 3 and out of 4, winning stage number 1 here this evening at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the ORL Motorsports 300. It's Grant Humphrey who's able to win the first stage of the day. Casey Gross will come home in second. Chris Muse back in third with Rob Tuwiscu and Kurt Sponsler there, our top 5. Chad Lancaster, Al Reed, Caleb McKinney, Anthony Garland, and Johnny Thunder is going to round out our top 10 here in the first stage of the evening. Gary Wright back there in 11th with Bromfield, Mike Killingbeck, Billy Jordan, Cameron Combs our top 15, Devin Black back in 6th with James Garland, Nicholas Barton, Corey Crowell and Edward Belair are top 20. Wayne Garland, first driver, 1 lap down. He's in line for the lucky dog here. We'll have to wait and see if he takes it or if he makes an extra trip down pit side here and eliminates the lucky dog for that 84. And obviously we talked about Tyler Humphrey and how he ran about 10 laps of this race and then took his car down pit side and off the speedway. So unfortunately for Tyler Humphrey, looks like his night is done. Tough break there for the other must-love Poodles ride here in the field in the Isabel's Impact ride, as it'll be a certain perk there for the 9 ride. But for his twin brother, the 48 of Grant Humphrey, Humphrey able to win this first stage of the day. And now it's time for drivers to head pit side. They know fuel is going to be a hot commodity. Everybody is going to make their way down pit road. But what will drivers do? I think they've got to probably come down pit road here, put 4 tires on. They gotta put fuel in here in this one, so I think that's exactly what these guys are gonna do. Here they come. They leave the pace car alone. They head down pit road. Obviously no one gonna take that strategy call because everyone needs fuel here. Everyone's at that basic line of like needing fuel. You can't really make it any farther here in this race without running out. So they got to make their way down pit side in our first pit stop of the day. But now the big question will be, will there be some drivers maybe taking maybe 2 tires, maybe no tires? Doesn't look like it so far. Actually looks like Chris Muse may be playing a little bit of a different game here. Okay, so Chris Muse comes down pit side, and it looks like fuel only. The 99 rider, Chris Muse. What about Grant Humphrey here? Looks like Grant Humphrey also taking fuel only. All right, so this is definitely going to be some interesting pit stops here, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like Cameron Combs as well. Fuel only for the 15, fuel only for the 2 ride. So a lot of different pit strategies here in our first pit stop of the day. So that's going to make things very, very interesting here. I'm not sure how much the tire fall off is going to affect these cars, but you get to imagine it's going to slow them down at least enough that they are going to be struggling here in stage number 2. And I think we're going to see a lot of drivers that weren't in play for the, stage win or a top 5 in the first stage potentially work their way up here in battle here for the stage win this evening. I think we're going to see Humphrey, Muse, probably Combs, and the 2 ride probably all fall back quite a ways here early on in this run. So we'll have to wait and see how this one kind of all gets played out, as I do believe we did see Wayne Garland did take that wave around here. So he is back on the lead lap, and for the 84 he was able to come down pit road here, got a little bit of that damage repaired, but he'll have to get ready for restart. Hope not to lose another lap here as they'll get ready to duke it out. They'll get ready to go back to battle. We do see James Garland also back down pit road, and looks like James is going to throw 4 tires on here in that 37 ride. So James Garland putting on a set of tires here. Looks like he's going to change his mind, go for tires, get some fuel, and he's going to get ready to rock and roll. But out in front, Grant Humphrey, Chris Muse going to get ready for a big restart right here. There's fresh tires back behind him. There's a few other drivers that are on the older tires. There could be tire spin. There could be issues again on this restart. On our initial start, we saw problems for that outside front row as the 2-ride Corey Crowell started in second. Spun the tires, went around, caused a bit of a calamity off of the initial green flag. Unfortunately, they did not get a yellow. It stayed clean and green, but they fell to the back of the pack. And for Corey Crowell, Cameron Combs, Al Reed, a bunch of drivers that got tied up in it that ran into problems. They're all still looking to rebound here. And obviously playing some of that strategy for Cameron Combs, taking no tires. Hoping that it plays off here for him in this one. As here we go, getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Here we go. The 48 ride of Grant Humphrey. Good jump right there. Good jump, good launch as the 48 ride of Humphrey able to quickly get back on the loud pedal. The 99 ride of Chris Muse back there in second. Everyone else kind of sitting still a little bit here, but now it's going to be about the old tires to the new tires here, and how much of a difference will it make? Is Grant Humphrey out in front leading this race? Chris Muse there in second. Casey Gross in third as here comes Tuisku and Combs right there into the battle. So for Casey Gross and Tuisku, Cameron Combs, what do they got? Do they have something here late in the, or early in this second stage? They're trying to make some moves. They're trying to put themselves up and into the battle. What about Lancaster? In that Landon C NSB 02 ride, he currently runs about that 7th position on the Speedway. And for the Landon C NSB machine, trying to race his way up towards the front here, definitely looking for some major points here this evening. If you are that 02 ride, knowing that you are the last driver on the cut line. Right now, he's only 10 points to the positive between himself and the drivers that are on the outside of the playoffs looking in. So I think for the 02, trying to jump up here, maybe use some of these fresh tires, trying to put himself into a good position at the end of stage number 2 could be the make or break here on him trying to work his way into the playoffs here this season. Kurt Sponsler Jr. right there as well. He's up and into 5th, but out in front, Grant Humphrey trying to run away with it, but Chris Muse and Casey Gross door to door now for position number 2. You see Tuisku and Sponsler right there into the mix as they are almost 3 wide down into core number 2 right there. Sponsler thinks better of it, falls back in line behind the 6 in the 99 ride as he'll look to try to get another run, another good drive, and see if he can maybe potentially make this pass a little bit easier without going 3 wide into a tight corner like corner number 3. So a great battle here for position number 3 and 4 now as Casey Gross up and into second. He is quickly hunting down our race leader, Grant Humphrey, and I think for Humphrey, he's got no other choice here. He's led every lap here so far this evening. He has been that reflection of perfection, but now the tire strategy, the pit strategy, going the opposite direction here for him right now. That was to be expected as Casey Gross takes the race lead, and he will lead lap number 39 here this evening. So took us 39 laps, but we finally see a new race leader here this evening as Grant Humphrey falls back into second, and for Casey Gross, he's out in front, has the top spot, and now looking to try to win a big stage here in our final regular season race here in the Outcast Racing League. So for Casey Gross, Grant Humphrey, they sit 1 and 2. Rob Tuisku up and into position number 3 with Kurt Sponsler right there behind him. Chad Lancaster in position number 5 is Chris Muse, Gary Wright, Caleb McKinney, Cameron Combs, and Edward Belair rounding out our top 10. Now Cameron Combs, another driver that did not take tires there on that pit stop. He's lost a couple spots here after the green flag, so Combs has been coming backwards. Chris Muse has started to slide backwards, and for Grant Humphrey, just trying to hold on to second right now. And we look a little farther back at the 2 rider, Corey Crowell. Crowell was another driver that did not take tires there, took fuel only during that stage break, and for the 2 ride, he's back in that 21st position. He's just trying to keep himself on the lead lap, trying to keep himself out of trouble and hoping to get back into this one here this evening as Vermont Racer says Tuisku wrapping the bottom nicely, saving those tires down there. Saving them tires is going to be, I think, a huge key to success here this evening as right now the tire wear really isn't a massive advantage, but it's definitely going to help out on the long run. I think for even still a lot of these drivers, when you look at Kurt Sponsler, Rob Tuwisku here, Lancaster, they have those fresh tires, but I think what they're trying to do right now is save them till the end of the stage as well, knowing that a caution flag could really mix everything up here and really make things more difficult for a lot of these drivers. So I think they're just kind of waiting, letting this race kind of get to them, letting this race kind of back some of these other drivers that did not take tires during those pit stops back towards them, not wanting to push these tires too hard too early, hoping to get a good run later in this second stage. As out in front, though, Casey Gross continues to lead the way. We do see Chad Lancaster. We talked about how he is in the final playoff position coming into this race, so trying to earn some stage points, trying to have a good run here this evening for the 0-2 is a must-have if he wants to try and lock his way in to our first round of the playoffs next Sunday afternoon. And for right now, the 0-2 running there in that 5th position, looking mighty fine in the Land and Sea NSB 0-2 machine, as he's now inside the top 5 here, right on the back bumper of Tuwisku and Grant Humphrey, as Humphrey does fall back into 3rd. Kurt Sponsler Jr. able to get around him, and now Kurt's looking to try to hunt down Casey Gross out there on the racetrack as Sponsler Jr. up and into 2nd here, man. Solid run, solid drive so far for that beautiful number 49 ride as the Logitech machine trying to navigate his way up towards that Quantum Motorsports 77 ride of Casey Gross. And take a little look farther back here, we do see a driver that's on the outside of the playoffs looking in right now, needing some big points, needing to try to gain a bit of an advantage over that number 0-2 at Chad Lancaster. It is this beautiful number 16, but look out in front of him. Rob Tuwisku is going to go for a slide. He's down on the apron. Will we see the caution flag? It stays clean and green. He backs it up into the infield. So far, no yellow flag here. There it is. Caution flag is on the racetrack. So our first caution flag of the day will fly here for incident midway through this first stage as Rob Tuwisku gonna get tied together right here, and I do believe he is gonna run into some problems trying to make this pass here. It really seemed like he was struggling trying to get around this 48 ride of Grant Humphrey, and I'm not sure, it just looks like out at corner number 4. Humphrey's gonna come up right here. I think maybe Humphrey thought that the 6 ride had cleared him. Maybe he was trying to fall in behind the 0-6. It'd be interesting to see whether or not potentially the 6 ride was rolling out of the throttle, maybe carrying too much speed down into corner number 4. Doesn't really look like he lifts or not, but yeah, right there you see the 48 kind of just leave the bottom here. Pushes up the racetrack on corner exit, trying to stay tight here with Tuwisku, and right there's the contact. Tuwisku's going to get sideways, and that's all it's going to take. They are going to make maybe a little bit of extra contact. No, looks like the 48 able to stay off of him for another hit, but you do see both drivers go for a slide down here through this infield, and even for our pole sitter and our Stage 1 winner, Grant Humphrey, going for the slide as well. That's never a fun time, as you only want to do that through the infield if you're picking up that checkered flag, if you win the race. And unfortunately here, that is the about the 5th car, 6th car that we've seen down through that infield here early on this evening. As Humphrey, Tuwisku, they get tied together. Caution flag will come out, and that is going to be little tougher here, going to be a little bit harder for them to try to rebound and race their way up towards the front, but there's still a lot of laps, a lot of racing left to go here, as we do see Chris Muse now headed down pit side, James Garland down pit road. Here comes Mike Killingback, Josh Bromfield. You do see Grant Humphrey obviously coming down pit side, Mike Killingback down pit road here in the 70 ride, Edward Belair, Gary Wright, all coming down pit road here. So about 7 drivers making their way down pit side here. So about 7 drivers going to pit here on lap number 48. Now that could really split up some of the pit strategy, some of the pit cycles here. And now with maybe newer tires to older tires, it's going to be really, really interesting to see kind of how this one gets played out. As Adam says 48. Humphrey is going to pull it off today. So far, he's looked really, really good up until that point, that contact. And I feel like Adam, Mr. Humphrey, man, unfortunately, I think you may have jinxed him. I think you may have jinxed Grant Humphrey right there, because I think it was virtually about 10, maybe 20 seconds after you made that comment, we see that contact in the caution flag involving Grant Humphrey. So I think Adam Humphrey may have jinxed him right there. Grant, if you're watching it and you see the comment, man, you better tell Adam, you know what, that one was on him. I'm messing with you, Adam. I'm messing with you, brother. Just tough break, tough situation there, and obviously tough contact. And now for Grant Humphrey, he'll have to try to battle his way back up through the field here. So won't that number 6 ride of Rob Tuisku as well. So both drivers will have to try and navigate their way towards the front. Now for Tuisku, he did not come down pit road. He is the last driver here on the lead lap in that 14th position that did not make the additional pit stop there on lap number 48. Everyone back behind him did come down pit road, so that does include Wright, Humphrey, Garland, Hillingbeck, Bromfield, and Edward Belair deeper in the field here this evening. So that's going to make things maybe a little bit more interesting before the end of this stage. Does somebody throw an extra set of tires on right there? Do they try to push their car and get some massive stage points here? Or do they just kind of hang on, bide their time, wait a little bit longer before using potentially their second set of tires, or even for some, their first set of tires here today? As we get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to battle. It is Casey Gross out in front who has the race lead. He'll get ready to see that green flag fly. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Jump into the comment section right now. Let us know who you're cheering for and who you want to see up and into victory lane here this evening from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And make sure you hit the like button and hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. Here we go. Pace car down into pit road, and for Casey Gross gets a great restart. Unfortunately, we did see Caleb McKinney spin the tires a little bit right there. So for Caleb McKinney, spins the tires. Not sure if he gets a little help in hand here or if he gets a shot from the 15. No, it just looks like spins the tires. Car gets loose, washes up the racetrack, makes hard contact there with that outside fence. It is a tough break there for the 76 ride. That is going to be a tough break there for him as he'll look to try to rebound. Hopefully not too much damage there for that number 76. As all these drivers able to get around him here, that will move Caleb McKinney back into about that 13th position. But for Casey Gross, he's out in front, looking to continue to try to pull away from the rest of the field. Is now look out, the 0-2 of Lancaster is going to run into problems. Oh, one of our almost playoff drivers here going to run into an issue down the back straightaway. Caution flag will come back out, and Grant Humphrey tied up in it. Josh Bromfield's there. Oh, tough break here, man. A lot of drivers with some big damage here. Oh, man, Gary Wright's tied up in that as well. Let's take a look at it as a second caution flag for issues here are going to come out. Yellows breeding yellows here. I'm not sure if there was some contact or if it's just 3 wide. It does look like contact here. So the 0-2, not quite down low. Run a little bit more of that second lane here, kind of right through the middle. The 49 rider, Kurt Sponsler, trying to work his way back up into second. He shoots for the gap here, unfortunately, just not low enough. And gets into that left rear quarter panel of the Land and Sea NSB number 0-2. That's what kind of gets that 0-2 ride knocked loose. Now he's just trying to hang on to it, trying to keep himself out of trouble, trying to keep this thing pointed the right direction. Gets bounced around a little bit more. Car's going to wash up the racetrack and up into the outside fence finally. As there goes, finally going to snap around on him here into that outside fence. And now everyone else is trying to dodge it, trying to keep themselves out of potential catastrophic contact. Here is the 0-2, washes down the speedway. See him jump down low. Other drivers jump up to the high side, and Mike Killingbeck, who tried to go the high side right here, unfortunately just does not clear this 0-2. And we're going to watch the 70 right here. Bam! Heavy contact onto the front end of the 0-2. Here comes the 16 of Gary Wright, the 25 of Edward Belair. They'll both drive into it. Now you see the 12 and the 48 both going to get sideways up into the outside fence here, trying to avoid that spinning 0-2 ride. And man, that was a pretty good hit here for Edward Belair and Gary Wright as they both slide into this. and they get tied together, and they both end up making pretty hard contact with the inside fence as well. So a few drivers getting tore up here, as back-to-back caution flags going to really mix up this first stage of the day. As Casey Gross, I feel like Casey's absolutely loving it right now, as that's going to keep him in the race lead. We're going to get closer to the end of this stage, and now he'll look for another big restart, but he does have a pair of the Elite Sim Racing teammates here surrounding him. As the 3 of Al Reed, the 15 of Cameron Combs, right there in second and third. Anthony Garland up and into fourth. Johnny Thunders there in fifth. Billy Jordan, Wayne Garland, Chris Muse, Devin Black, and Kill McKinney now rounding out our top 10 as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a little bit. Next time by the start finish line, the lights will go off, the official iRacing pace car, and we'll get ready to set these drivers back loose.
Check 1, 2, radio check. Still.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Cole. Alrighty, here we go. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Great launch, great restart again for Casey Gross, as we are only a few laps away from ending stage number 2 here this evening. And for Casey, a big stage win here this evening could really help propel him here in our playoffs. So for the 77, trying to keep himself up there as there's more contact. Around goes Caleb McKinney. McKinney goes for a couple loop-de-loops down the back straightaway. Somehow or another, able to keep that thing pointed the right direction. I don't know how he was able to keep that car out of the outside fence, but down across the line. It is 4 laps left to go here in stage number 2, as the 77 out in front, continuing to lead the way. It's Cameron Combs, who ran into issues, got tied up, had a problem there off the initial green flag start, and for the 15 run of Cameron Combs has battled his way back up here inside the top 5, now looking for the stage 2 win out of that Mobile 1 number 15 machine. His Elite Sim Racing teammate right there behind him, but there's more contact back there. Look out, there goes Chris Muse. Muse is around, and there is Tuwiscu. There is a pile-up down here on the front straightaway. Some massive, massive hits. The caution flag will come back out here. As the yellow flag comes back out, that should end stage number 2 here this evening, with the 77 of Casey Gross able to win that stage. Let's take a look here, though. Back at the start here of this restart. So the 76, the Overton's ride, trying to get rocking and rolling here. This is Caleb McKinney. McKinney trying to keep himself out of trouble, trying to race his way up here, earn some solid stage points. And it looks like right here he's going to jump 3 wide in between the 48 and the 14. The 6 rider Tuwiscu is going to get in there, make contact here with the 76. So Twisk with the big run, gets a good drive, and then just drives up basically into that left rear quarter panel of the 76 ride of Caleb McKinney. That's going to spin McKinney around. He's going to do a full 360. Luckily enough, able to get this car kind of checked up, pointed back in the right direction, and just minimal contact with that inside fence, man. Hell of a save right there for that 76, and then we're going to see more contact here down the front straightaway as the number 99 right here, Chris Muse, I do believe a couple laps later, he is going to run into some issues, and this is what really brings out that caution flag as Muse in the 99 get tight together here out of corner number 4. Muse with a good run to the outside, then number 60 right there with him, but you see Muse right there, so that's kind of where it starts. Muse almost following some of these leaders here up and into that outside fence, and you're going to watch the 99 right here. Just trying to carry that speed, that momentum a little too far. Bounces it off the safer barrier down the racetrack into the lap here of that foul out number 60 ride of Johnny Thunders. They make contact, they wash down through the infield, and unfortunately it kind of just shoves this 99 ride back up the racetrack, and all of a sudden he has nowhere to go. He's just got to lock down, and for the 2 of Corey Crowell, can't get checked up, can't decide which way to go, was thinking about going to the outside, was thinking about going to the inside, unfortunately can't make that decision quick enough, and drives right into the passenger side door of that 99 ride, and that was a big hit there for Chris Muse. Big hit there for the 2 ride, and a big hit as well for that 6 machine of Rob Tuisku. Tuisku another driver. Let's see if we can jump on board here with them. So the contact's already happening here. He can actually kind of see it from right here. There's contact. There goes the 99 ride. Now he's sideways, and for the 6, just tries to get to the outside. Unfortunately, the contact with the 2 and that number 99 machine, they end up kind of coming up the racetrack into the outside fence and right into his lap. And this is really just nowhere for that RT3 Designs LLC machine ride to go, as he can't really jump quickly down to the inside. He's got the 37 down there, so he can't quite jump down without taking out the 37. Unfortunately, goes to the outside lane. There's the 99 ride parked right into his lap. The 2, Corey Crowell will slam into him as well. And then you see killing back, and I do believe it's the 22 ride of Nicholas Barton who get tied up in this as well. Let's take a look here. Barton's trying to work his way through it. He's trying to stay out of the way. So he's going to end up getting a piece of the 2 ride right there in the 70 ride of Mike Killingback. If Killingback ends up with contact from somebody else, or if he just drives it in there deep and unfortunately gets tore up in it. So he's behind the 22, shoots to the middle, and he's just carrying a lot of speed. And I don't know if there's net code or something right there, or if he just gets loose. Looked like he maybe had a hole there to jump into. Maybe gets a little bit loose right here, shoots up the track into the 22, and then both drivers going to bounce up into that outside fence as well, and that's some massive contact and damage there for Killingback, as a lot of carnage, a lot of mayhem down into corner number 1. Everyone's just trying to work their way through it. Unfortunately, a lot of drivers getting tore up and destroyed there in that one. Luckily enough, a lot of these drivers still had their quick repairs, so it looked like a lot of these cats going to have to use those quick repairs up to try to keep themselves in this race. Is the 6 rider Rob Tuisku able to get rolling here once again? Nicholas Barton still parked down pit side. I'm not sure if he's used that quick repair up already or not, but for out in front, the 77 rider, Casey Gross. Casey's got the race lead here. Now, we did see a bunch of drivers did come down pit road. A lot of other drivers did not come down pit side there. So this is going to be very interesting on some of the strategy here. A lot of drivers maybe having to make an additional green flag pit stop here. If we see, you know, a 5-10 lap run, they may have to come back down pit road. There was a lot of yellow flag laps there, so they may be kind of A-okay here on fuel for a little bit, but not a lot of bit. And now with only, you know, what is it? 59 laps left to go in this race, something like that, somewhere around there, maybe 63, 64 laps, or somewhere around there. Still a lot of laps. I think for a lot of these drivers, I think what they're trying to do is try to make it to a number that they feel a little bit better with, and trying to make 2 green flag pit stops. For the drivers that came down pit road, they're on lap number 59. They may be able to stretch out the fuel. They may be able to make it a one more green flag pit stop if they can run it until about lap number 92, lap number 93, which is quite a bit of fuel savings. Then they may be able to make it on a one-stop race here. But I think it's going to be very, very tough for them to save that much fuel and still be fast, still be competitive, and still be in position to be in an area to win this race here later in the day. So I think for a lot of these drivers that did not come back down pit road right there and haven't been down pit side since lap number 32, they just plan on pitting here probably after 5-10 laps, making sure that they can kind of get into that comfort zone. They can make it to somewhere around lap number 95, maybe lap number 100, make sure that they are good on fuel and that they don't have to make, you know, an additional pit stop after these two. And still, for a lot of those drivers that may have just came down pit road, may have gotten rid of a lot of track position, and still have to make 2 pit stops here to end this race. Now that's all if it stays clean and green. An untimely caution flag could really mix things up here for a lot of these drivers like Casey Gross, like Johnny Thunders, Josh Bromfield, some of these other cats that were down pit side on lap 32, like that number 49 ride of Kurt Sponsler, potentially not coming down pit road right there. They come down pit side during green flag conditions here early on in this run. They could find themselves going a lap down, and an untimely caution flag could help or hurt them, and there it is. There's contact. Around goes the 49, and this is going to hurt a few drivers. We do see Cameron Combs tied up in it. I do believe that was the, who was the other car? It was the 25 right here of Edward Belair right there in it as well. There, 3 wide down and at core number 2. And for the 25 ride of Edward Belair, just kind of gets into the 49 ride right here, and then it's going to spin him sideways. So contact again, and another caution flag out here on the speedway. So for Belair, he's just trying to squeeze his way through here, trying to make up a couple extra spots here. Gets a big run, so he's the aggressor here. He's making this pass and shoots down to the inside. They're 3 wide. I'm sure the 49 probably didn't think he'd be there or shove his nose into that position. Unfortunately, they end up making contact. They wash down into Anthony Garland. Anthony's trying to keep himself out of it, trying to keep his car A-okay, and he seems still tied together. Here comes the 70 ride of Mike Killingback. Killingback's going to get in there, get a good piece of that one as well, and to the inside fence. So Killingback, who just used a quick repair, now with more damage onto the 70 ride. And we also saw Cameron Combs going around here as well. So for Cameron Combs, who got tied up in an early race incident, looks like he's just trying to keep himself out of it. Jumps down to the apron right here. It's dirty, it's slick. Unfortunately, his car's finally going to go around here and going to case that inside safer barrier as well. Some pretty solid front end damage there for the 15 ride. So another early caution flag here in this run, and now that is going to bring a lot of drivers down pit road. A lot of those cats that were on different fuel strategies now going to be able to use this as a pit stop, and this should really put them at the number where they're only going to have to make one more pit stop throughout this race. At least one more green flag pit stop, as now there's issues down pit side for Devin Black. He's trying to get into his pit stall, and for Devin Black, he is sideways. He's got to back it up. He's got to get this thing kind of turned around. Let's see if we can take another look and see, you know, kind of what happens as down pit road here in these race cars. You don't really get contact from one another, so I believe as the 81 ride gets into him right here, it does actually affect his car, and that's going to get the 7 ride turned sideways and unfortunately into his pit wall right there. Looks like all the pit crew were able to jump into the way. Everyone is safe down pit road as the 81 is trying to get a good angle into his pit stall for the 7 ride. Unfortunately, he gets in there, and for the 2 ride, I don't know if that's going to give him damage or not, as he actually does drive into the back end of that 7 machine. And obviously some more issues down pit road, and for a lot of these drivers, not a very fun spot to be out there on the speedway, but that is going to mix things up quite a bit, and it will put Josh Bromfield as our first driver here that just came down pit road. So he's able to win the race down pit side. Johnny Thunders comes out in the now 5th position with Garland there, Anthony Garland, James Garland in 6th and 7th, Corey Crowell there in 8th. Caleb McKinney and Gary Wright rounding out our top 10. You got to look a little farther back there for the, there's the 77 ride here. Casey Gross right behind these guys in about the 11th position here for this restart. Chris Muse there in 12th, Grant Humphrey back in 13th, Cameron Combs there in 14th, Killingback in position number 15. We'll have Lancaster, Devin Black, Billy Jordan, Edward Belair, Kurt Sponsler back here behind him. Nicholas Barton still parked down pit road. And for Tyler Humphrey, down and out of this race since lap number 10. But for Mike Killingback, he still has quite a bit of damage here on this number 70 ride, and it looks like that damage is probably going to be too much for him to continue. You see that left front tire not even turning here on that race car. It is pretty much locked in here. There is a ton of damage here on Mike Killingback's ride, as I do believe Mike may have ran into more issues trying to get back into the battle. Maybe not. No, it doesn't look like it. I don't know. It looks like... yeah, okay, here we go. You are going to see him actually run into more problems. So, with that damage already, just trying to keep this thing rolling, trying to keep it in the battle, obviously tight, while trying to get back down pit road. Lancaster's trying to find the back of the pack here, trying to rejoin the rear of the field. And for the 70 ride, goes from the high side, trying to get down pit road here maybe. Ends up driving right down into the lap here of Chad Lancaster. So, Lancaster ends up with some more damage here himself and gives a ton of extra damage to that 70 rider, Killingback, as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here. As out in front, looks like we will get an additional lap here. So an additional lap for all these drivers, and obviously for Killingback, he's down pit road here. He may be down there for an extended period of time, as he had already used that quick repair up, and now obviously with all this damage, the crew is going to have to go to work and try to get this thing repaired and back into the battle. For Al Reed, though, he's got the race lead. He was down pit road at lap 59, so was Wayne Garland, so they lead the way here back to the green flag. Rob Tuwiscu will be in third. All three of these drivers inside our top three were last down pit road there on lap 59. Everyone else back behind them were down pit side there during this last caution flag, so fuel mileage could definitely become a factor here in this feature event. On whether or not a lot of these drivers can make it here on one more pit stop, I feel like it's going to be very, very tight for those three at the front of the field. For Al Reed, Wayne Garland, for the 6th rider Tuwiscu. If it stays clean and green, fuel could still get very, very tight for them by the end of this race. Everyone else that came down pit road on lap number 67, they can make it about another 32 laps or so on their tank of fuel, so they'll be down pit road around lap, number probably around lap 95, maybe somewhere around lap number 96, 97, somewhere in there, making sure that they're good on fuel to get to the end of our race, and even trying to have a couple extra laps of fuel here in case we head to NASCAR overtime. But finding some more caution flags here could definitely change up a lot of that pit strategy. Could throw a lot of that pit strategy right out the window with some more caution flags as well. So, for right now, it's Al Reed who's out in front. It's a great restart, great launch right there. He's got his teammate in the Elite Sim Racing RT3 Designs number 6 ride, Rob Tuwiscu right there behind him. Josh Bromfield able to make the pass on Wayne Garland. Wayne will stay there in 4th, but now here comes Anthony Garland. Anthony does bounce it off the fence right there, though. Does get some pretty good contact into that corner 4 wall, and unfortunately he will end up losing a spot instead of going after his old man for that 4th position. Corey Crowell will make the move around him, and Corey, after going around early in this race on our opening lap, he spun the tires, starting in position number 2, went around, no caution flag, went to the back of the pack. He's been battling his way back to the front here all evening long, and for that 2 ride, back up inside the top 5. So for Corey Crowell, able to rebound, able to get back into the battle here. He did use that quick repair. We did see him get into that one big wreck as he drove into the side of another driver there during a couple cautions ago, and now we do see him make the move on the 84 ride. Wayne Garland almost going around right there. Maybe a little contact, maybe a little love nudge, maybe a little neck go there that almost took that 84 ride around for a spin. Luckily enough, no major issues. In for the 84, it will keep on battling as Corey Crowell does jump into 4th. Now McKinney inside the top 5 as Wayne Garland slides back to 6th. Anthony Garland there in 7th as Gary Wright, Casey Gross, and Cameron Combs trying to battle their way up towards the front here. As here comes the 37 away, James Garland into the battle. See Cameron Combs right there, Devin Black, and now here we go, more contact again. Wayne Garland almost around. Wayne's hard contact up into the outside fence right there. Is for the 84 ride, that Dark Horse Motorsports machine. Just trying to keep himself kind of up and out of the way here, but this time shoots it in, and I do believe maybe contact here between him and Anthony on corner entry. You see contact already, so it's like Wayne up on the outside. Anthony maybe trying to side draft a little bit here with Wayne. And they're just going to make contact here. Anthony kind of gets into him. They get tied together. 84 rides bent out of shape, trying to keep himself out of the 81. Loses the handle of it, slides up the racetrack here. This is what gets him up and into the outside fence to start with. So now he's lost all that speed and momentum. He's still trying to keep himself just pointing the right direction. Here comes the 16, the 37, and it's actually James Garland who gets a little tight here down low. So you're going to watch that 37 ride down on the bottom side here. He is going to get a little bit tight down through the middle of the corner. He pushes up the racetrack into the 16 ride of Gary Wright. Gary Wright gets up into Wayne Garland, and that's what's going to get Wayne again sideways here up into the outside fence. Pretty solid contact and damage for him. Pretty solid contact there for James Garland and for that number 16 ride of Mr. Gary Wright. We keep it clean and green. We keep it rolling here, but unfortunately for all those drivers, some pretty good contact, pretty good damage right there. But out in front, it is this 12 ride of Josh Bromfield. Bromfield's got the race lead. He is out in front, looking to try to keep everyone back there at bay. But how long can he stay here at the point as Corey Crowell now races his way up and into second, trying to make that pass on the 3 ride of Al Reed. Looks like Reed will try to battle, try to stay to his outside here, as Corey Crowell trying to march his way up to the front of the pack here this evening, as Al Reed tries to hold on to position number 2. Rom Tuwiscu there in 4th, and Killen McKinney up inside the top 5. He's looking to continue his way up towards the front. Here comes Casey Gross. Cameron Combs at number 7 of Devin Black. Grant Humphrey, our pole sitter and stage 1 winner, there in the 9th position. Chris Muse rounding out our top 10 as of right now, as it's Anthony Garland back in 11th. Gary Wright, James Garland still door-to-door back here for that 12th and 13th position. Kurt Sponsler right there with them. Chad Lancaster back in position number 15 with Johnny Thunders. Edward Belair, Wayne Garland, Billy Jordan, Mike Killingback back in 20th, Nicholas Barton in 21st, and Tyler Humphrey rounding out our field back in 22nd here this evening. But it is all Josh Bromfield as Bromfield continues to lead the way, as this time down and out of corner number 4, he will complete lap number 80. So 80 laps into this feature event. It's 45 laps left to go here. 45 laps of racing action left here from the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway, as ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, jump into the comment section, cheer on your favorite drivers, hit the like button on the stream, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as we jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming crank it up. So crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Alrighty, a beautiful crank it up session right there as these drivers give us the sights and sounds around Charlotte Motor Speedway. As green flag pit stops starting to get underway here, this is the battle though out in front between Josh Bromfield and Corey Crowell. Crowell looking to try to take the race lead away from Bromfield here this evening as we do see Caleb McKinney, James Garland, Rob Tuwiscu, Johnny Thunders, Lancaster, Wayne Garland, Billy Jordan all down pit side. We did see Anthony Garland come down pit road there on lap number 93 here. So this is really going to mix things up here. A lot of different pit strategies late in this race for their final pit stop of the day. Here comes Cameron Combs also down pit side. And some good green flag pit stops here this evening. This is the money stop. You cannot have an issue. You cannot run into a problem and put yourself into a position where potentially you take yourself out of a good run and a good point stay here, especially if you're one of those drivers that is on the verge of potentially punching your ticket into our playoffs or trying to advance your way into the playoffs. You cannot have a problem. You cannot have a mistake here this evening. As Josh Bromfield continues to lead the way, it's Casey Gross now in second as we do see Corey Crowell, Grant Humphrey, Devin Black, Gary Wright all make their way down pit road. So we only got about 5 drivers left in on the racetrack yet to come down pit side, but here we go. Here comes our race leader, Josh Bromfield. He's going to make his way down pit side. Casey Gross going to go at least another lap here. He stays out because here comes Chris Muse, here comes Kurt Sponsler. What does Edward Belair do? Does he stay out for another lap or does he continue to keep on cruising? Looks like he's making his way down pit side as well, down onto the apron and down pit road. So for a lot of these drivers, a lot of different pit strategies. The tire wear, the tire strat may help you, may hurt you. It'll be very interesting to see kind of where these drivers will line up, where they'll stack up as they come back out onto the racetrack. As here comes Casey Gross. He makes his way now down pit side, and now we'll have some fresher tires than a lot of these other drivers. We'll have to wait and see if late in this race it'll pay off for him. Maybe he can gain a few extra spots and put himself into a better position. But as drivers start to roll back out onto the racetrack here, it is Corey Crowell who will jump out in front here. He gets around Josh Bromfield. He gets around Kurt Sponsler. So they come down pit road a lap earlier, and that will put them in front of the 49 line of Kurt Sponsler and the 12 of Josh Bromfield. Seemed like Bromfield maybe a little bit slower there on that pit stop, but unfortunately for the driver that came down with the race lead, the 12 line now finds himself stacked up in about that 7th position. Where does Casey Gross come out? He'll have the best tires as there goes Crowell. There goes Grant Humphrey. Looks like down the back straightaway, he may be able to slide in front of the 15 of Cameron Combs. No, looks like Cameron Combs will get in front of him. Maybe the 76. Does McKinney make that pass as well? He's looking to the outside. So for Casey Gross, he'll come out virtually about that 4th, 5th position here, battling with that 76. But for Corey Crowell, good pit stop, good green flag stop there. And for the 2 right, it puts him out in front, but the big mover was this 48 of Grant Humphrey. Humphrey jumps up a few positions here, quite a few spots actually, and into position number 2, and now right there with Corey Crowell battling here for what could be the race win here this evening. So for Grant Humphrey and Corey Crowell, they roll first and second on the racetrack. It's about 7/10 of a second between Crowell and Grant Humphreys down across the line. That time about a 10th and a bit quicker for Corey Crowell over this 48 machine. So you gotta wonder what the 48 ride may have done to give himself this bit of an advantage. I don't know if it was just quicker pit stop, quicker time down into pit lane, and quicker exit speed, or where he may have made all this ground up to give him this track position. But right now it's paying off perfectly for him because he sits in second and he is trying to race his way up here into what could be a big race win here this evening for the must-love Poodles, number 48. As Crowell, though, early on, we saw him get turned. He went around and spun the tires there on our initial green flag to start this race. He started in second, spun the tires, went around in front of the field. A few drivers got into him. He went down into the infield. All of a sudden, he found himself at the back of the pack. But through these stages, through some of these caution flags, he's gotten back into the battle. He's gotten some track position back, and now out in front leading this race. And the next time by the start-finish line, he will complete lap number 105, meaning that we will only have 20 laps left to go here in this race the next time by the start-finish line. So with only 20 more laps left to go here, if you're Corey Crowell, you're sitting in a pretty good position here. You're still pulling a little bit away from that 48 ride of Grant Humphrey, almost out to a second lead now. And with these laps closing down in a quick hurry, you have almost 3 seconds between yourself and the 15 of Cameron Combs. Great rebound for Combs as well. Combs also had an issue there, had a problem, and unfortunately for the 15 ride on that initial green flag, him in the 2 ride, they were 2 of the drivers that kind of made contact as the 2 lost control, spun those tires, went around in front of the field. It was Combs and Crowell who ended up in the infield, losing a ton of track position, but both have battled their way back up here into the top 3 to battle here late in this race. Casey Gross, who we saw come down pit road last there, back on lap 100 for this number 77 ride. He's in that 4th position. He was able to get around that number 76 of Caleb McKinney, and now looking to try to run his way back up towards the front of the field here. Josh Bromfield, who we saw make a little bit of a slower pit stop for Bromfield. He's able to get around McKinney here. He's able to jump up into position number 5 on the racetrack. So for Josh Bromfield, he's trying to rebound after what was a bit of a slower pit stop here this evening. As Muscle Up Poodle says, he heard you talking about him. Oh, baby, that's exactly what got him going. That is for certain. As Tyler says, I really like this pit strategy by the 48 ride. Now he needs to set his eyes on Crowell. Yeah, he's definitely trying to keep his eyes set on Crowell, but I feel for Grant Humphrey, the strategy, the track position, it was probably gained by, I'm assuming, a 2-tire pit stop right there. Is that going to give him enough fuel? Will he have enough fuel in the tank to get to the end of this race? That's where the big question mark will be here, I think, for Grant Humphrey. Let's see if we can go back here and take a look here at his pit stop. So here he comes down pit road. You see the gap between himself and that 2 ride. Virtually down pit road. That's about a 4, maybe 5-second gap really between them, as Corey Crowell will hit his pit stall first. So we'll watch these guys come down pit road. Here comes Crowell into his pit stall, and now we get to see kind of this pit strategy through our race leaders here. Crowell's gonna get jacked up. Looks like he's gonna put at least right side tires on. What about the 48 ride? So there goes right side tires. The 2's putting 4 tires on. What does the 48 ride do here? Looks like it is a 2-tire stop there for the 48 ride. So you got to wonder, did he get enough fuel into the tank here of that 48 machine? Will he have enough here in this one? And obviously, with a 2-tire pit stop, how well will those tires hold up? As Tyler says, fuel will be fine, but tires really needed him to cycle in front of Crowell. Yeah, definitely going to make things very, very interesting. Obviously, he does have a bit of a gap here between himself and some of the other lap traffic from that 2 ride now, so maybe getting a little bit of clean air himself. He's still got about a 1.7-second gap between himself and Cameron Combs, who's trying to hunt him down, and you see Casey Gross right there as well. Heck of a run here for Casey. We saw him pick up the 2nd stage win of the day, and for the 77, he's running right there in that 4th position. He's tracking down this 15 ride of Cameron Combs, and if they can both maybe catch that 2-tire pit stop out of Grant Humphrey, or maybe if Humphrey can get lucky, I don't know if he's still got, you know, maybe the left side tires could make a difference here late in the race. Maybe he comes back down pit road, throws maybe a pair of scuffs on, or maybe if he's got those left sides, throws those on. Maybe those will make a difference. Maybe he can gain a lot of track position with a late race caution flag, maybe making that strategy call to come down pit road, or maybe just try to hang on to that 48 ride here for a good solid 2nd place run as he continues to fall farther and farther back here from our race leader, Corey Crowell, pulling farther and farther away from him. For Crowell, maybe the strategy paying off perfectly here for that 2 ride as he rolls out in front. He's got about a 1.7-second lead now between himself and that 48 of Mr. Grant Humphrey. So for Corey Crowell, he's sitting pretty right now, man. He has got a good lead. He's got a good car. He's got good tires, and he sees, you know, a lot of lap traffic going in between himself and that number 48 ride and the rest of our race leaders here. You see Cameron Combs now trying to work his way through some of that lap traffic. There goes Billy Billy Jordan around him, but here comes a few more drivers that are trying to battle here for that lucky dog position, including the 60 of Johnny Thunders and the 84 of Wayne Garland. Edward Belair had just lost a lap, so he is now into the lucky dog position if there is a late race caution flag. But for Corey Crowell out in front, he's just hitting his marks. He's on cruise control. He knows as down and out of core number 4 and across the line, it is only 10 more laps left to go here for this number 2 machine. So he's just hoping that it can stay clean and green, hoping that he does not see a caution flag, and that way none of these drivers back here behind him really get a chance to hunt him down. But can Grant Humphrey, maybe he's saving a little bit early on, maybe the 2-ride pushing early here in the strategy, or maybe now Corey Crowell just kind of biding his time here, maybe allowing the 48 ride to catch him a little bit before he starts to use up those tires again, as now that's got to be his strategy, making sure that he saves a little bit here, knowing that if there is that late race caution flag, you'd like to have a little bit of tire percentage left over here, enough to maybe battle, compete, and keep some of these drivers back there behind him at bay, as we do see Cameron Combs. Oh no, look out, Cameron Combs down and into the infield here. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green as Cameron Combs runs into a problem. He's battling here. He's got Casey Gross down to his inside, the 84 of Wayne Garland to his outside. Wayne is a lap down car, and you're going to watch Wayne, and they just got to get 3 wide right here. There's contact. Him and Wayne get tied together, and unfortunately, kind of a pick right there for Casey Gross, able to get around the 15 right. Unfortunately, 84 kind of all of a sudden ends up nowhere to go for the 15 ride. He's right in the middle. He doesn't get checked up in time. The 84 kind of comes down across his nose right here. This could have very easily been our late race caution flag. Just barely missed that right rear quarter panel of the 77. So the 84 and the 15, they both get basically dragged down into the infield here. They both go for a couple wild rides, and you see that heavy hit there for that 15 machine, man. That was a huge hit here for Cameron Combs. Hard contact right there for him. Hard hit as well for Wayne Garland. Down into the inside fence as well. Unfortunately for both of those drivers, no caution flags. We keep it clean and green. Combs is now parked down pit side and potentially done for this race. Wayne Garland now heavy damage. He's back in about the 16th position. Going to be tough for him to just keep that thing pointed the right direction late in this race. But for the 2 ride, that was definitely a blessing right there. No caution flag. Neither driver bounced back up onto the racing surface to bring that yellow flag out, so they keep it clean and green. And for this 2 machine of Corey Crowell, with a 1.5 second gap between himself and Grant Humphrey. Clean track in front of him. No one between him and that 48 ride late in this race is down across the line. It's only 5 more laps left to go. So 5 more laps left to duke it out here this evening for Corey Crowell and Grant Humphrey. Who will get it done? Who will find their way up and into victory lane here this evening from the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway? It's Corey Crowell down in through 3 and out of 4. He will see only 4 more laps left to go, and for a driver that's got a 1.5 second lead, he's just hoping that he does not see a late race caution flag. The great strategy here out of Grant Humphrey. It may not have won him the race, but it should give him potentially a good solid finish. If there is no late race yellow, he's sitting in second. He's got about 3 seconds between himself and the 77 right to Casey Gross. Casey trying to keep himself up here inside of the top 3 here, trying to get another podium run to finish out the regular season. But he's got Josh Bromfield right there behind him in position number 4, trying to work his way back onto the podium here this season. Chris Muse there in 5th with Caleb McKinney, who's looking to lock in the regular season championship there in that 6th position, as Devin Black, Al Reed, Kurt Sponsler Jr., and Anthony Garland rounding out our top 10. James Garland, Gary Wright, Chad Lancaster, Edward Belair, and Johnny Thunders rounding out our top 15. Wayne Garland back in 16th with Rob Tuiscu, Billy Jordan, Cameron Combs, and Nicholas Barton, our top 20 out there on the Speedway. Killing Beck and Tyler Humphrey, unfortunately, down and out of this race, but for all these other drivers, man, it's coming to a close, and a quick Curry is down the back straightaway. Nice and easy for that Schenko. K West Group, number 2 ride, the Mars League number 2 machine of Corey Crowell will exit corner number 4, back down the front straightaway. He will see the white flag fly. So no late race caution flags to change things up here in this feature event. No late race caution flags, no NASCAR overtime to potentially take this win away for Corey Crowell as he's on cruise control. 1.6 seconds down the back straightaway for the final time here this evening. Down into 3 and out of corner number 4 for the 2 of Corey Crowell. He will win our final race of the regular season here in the Outcast Racing League as the ORL Motorsports 300 goes to the 2 of Corey Crowell here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Crowell picks up the dub and will get to park himself up and into the Charlotte Motor Speedway victory lane here this evening as Crowell gets the job done and picks up the dub here this evening. Grant Humphrey will come home in second, and Josh Bromfield will round out our top 3 here this evening as Corey Crowell will get ready to celebrate what was an absolutely amazing run, an amazing comeback here for that 2 ride this evening, battling back from adversity early in this race, and luckily enough he's able to navigate his way, keep himself out of some of that chaos there. We did see him get tied up in one big wreck. Luckily enough, had that quick repair still in his back pocket, able to use it, get himself back into the battle, and still be able to rebound from the opening lap incident where he went to the back of the pack. The big wreck there around that lap 50-ish area that sent him down pit side with heavy damage. Able to use the quick repair, get back into the battle once again, having to battle his way back up through the field, and here he is by the end, able to capture tonight's checkered flag, man. What a run! What a drive there for Corey Crowell as we'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interview here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Corey Crowell. Hey, Corey, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
I do, Aaron. What's going on?
Not much. Corey, man, what a run, what a drive for you here in this one, man. Right out of the get-go, obviously, things started off well. You qualified in second, but on that initial start, looked like a little bit of tire spin out on the 2 ride. It kicks out and around on you, and obviously you get kind of shunted down into the infield. No caution flag for you or Cameron Combs, and you got to get rolling here. Got to keep yourself on the lead lap in that first stage. You were able to do that. You were able to keep yourself in that, in that lead lap in the battle, and then obviously the start of the second stage we see some caution flags. Midway through that second stage you get tied up in a big one there and just across the start finish line as you end up T-boning the 99 of Chris Muse. Ended with a ton of damage. Luckily enough you got that quick repair in your back pocket. You gotta use it, you gotta burn it there, and luckily enough you did, because here you are battling your way for a second time up and through the field towards the front of the pack. And then late in this race, man, with some more of those caution flags, some good pit strategy, you find yourself up here battling for that race lead. You have a great pit stop where the number 12 of Bromfield doesn't get a great pit stop, and it allows you to come out of the pits here with that final green flag pit stop with that race lead, and you just run away with it, man. You're on cruise control late in this race, and here you are able to finish off what was a wild night for you here in victory lane, man. Take us back through it, and what's going to go through your mind after all of the ups and downs here this evening?
Yeah, it was full of ups and downs today. Yeah, that initial restart, I know Caleb was wondering if that was on him. No, that was on me. I mean, coming out when we were warming up, I tried first gear and it seemed fine. I knew there was going to be tire spin, but I thought I was going to have enough of a jump initially to go. Once that green flag hit, I jumped, and then I got wheel spin, and then it was just like the same exact time. It was almost like there was contact, and it just hard left. So I hate it for everybody that got involved in that one. Cameron, I ruined his stage. Anybody that got caught up into it on the back, I hate that. That was one thing that was like, said right before the green flag was, hey, we're gonna clean up these restarts, and then bam, right out the initial go, I screwed up. So yeah, I hate it. But no, I just from there it was just like, okay, just I ain't trying to go to the top 10. I'm just trying to just finish. So I'm just gonna ride back here at first stage, second stage, same kind of concept. The caution with Chris Muse, I love that everybody holds their brakes, but this is the one time I wish they didn't. I was expecting him to keep going, and then he just stopped, and then from there it was like, well, I got nothing. So yeah, I T-boned him, trying to key up, but my wheel was all messed up. I didn't know which way it was facing, so ended up getting a pit, fast repair, coming out, and then yeah, just riding around. Usually I'm later on the pit stops. I kind of just stay out later. Brahm was in front of me. I had a gap, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna short this one up. So I pit, kind of leapfrogged him, still ahead of Cam. Grant, he come into pit road, and then as I was leaving, he was leaving, and I was like, man, I must have really screwed up pit entry if he's right here with me, because I seen the gap. And then knowing that he took two, and then I just kind of maintained the gap. But yeah, a lot of ups and downs. Awesome to get this win. Get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Final race of the regular season. You end it on a high note here. Obviously, trying to get some of that luck turned around. Obviously, here tonight, it was kind of a back and forth night on the luck of the draw. Right place, wrong time for one of those big wrecks. And then, obviously, the tire spin at the get-go. But picking up this win, man, maybe some good momentum heading into that first round of the playoffs, man. How you feeling going in to those playoffs now, knowing that you were able to get this win, able to have that momentum, maybe some extra bonus points to your back pocket heading into that as well?
Yeah, definitely got some momentum going. I feel like the last few weeks have been pretty good. Um, really looking forward to next week. I like Chicagoland. Yeah, so the next group of tracks, I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, so hopefully we can keep this momentum going. There's a lot of fast guys out here, so it's gonna be tough, but hopefully we can keep it going.
Absolutely. Well, brother, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Corey, who would you like to thank for a big win here this evening in the ORL Motorsports 300?
Yeah, I have to thank ORL for the league, and then sponsoring this race. You for the broadcast. I have to thank Shenko Custom Diecast and Designs. I have to thank the Mars teams for everything that they helped me with outside of this. Just everybody that's tuning in and watching. All the racers that are racing. We wouldn't be able to do this without everybody's support. So just appreciate everyone.
Absolutely. Well, Corey, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, man. Congrats on the win, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in Victory Lane from Chicagoland Speedway next Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Corey Crowell. As Crowell picks up the dub, we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher. The must-love poodle is number 48 of Grant Humphrey. Hey, Grant, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Grant, man, another great run, another great race here for you. Obviously, qualifying in that pole position, you're able to lead all the laps there in stage number 1. You take the no-tire pit stop there at the end of the stage, and obviously you end up finally giving up that race lead around lap number 38. And from that point on, you're trying to battle your way back up into it. We see you get tied up in a few incidences. You're trying to keep yourself out of trouble, and then obviously late in this race, you're battling there just outside the top 5. You make the late rate strategy call to make the two-tire pit stop, and it pays off for you as you're able to come out in second. You're able to kind of battle there for a little bit behind Corey Crowell, and then obviously able to keep that gap between yourself and Bromfield, Casey Gross, and Cameron Combs here to keep yourself in a solid second place run here this evening, man. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, it was a crazy race. I really want to apologize to Rob. I didn't mean to get into him like that, but yeah, it was a fun track, and it was just a crazy race. There was a lot of incidents there towards the middle, and had to use my fast repair. Wasn't sure if I was going to come back. Once I got in the back, I just couldn't seem to make passes. So it was a crazy one.
Yeah, definitely a crazy one. Definitely hard to battle through some of the traffic, through some of that chaos in the middle portion of this race. But luckily enough, you're able to battle through that adversity here. And with that final call down pit side, man, take us through that call and the thought process there. Were you maybe hoping to get another caution flag late in the race, or were you just hoping that maybe you could get out in front of Corey Crowell, leapfrog him, and then try to just keep the dirty air on his nose and try to keep the four tires all together back there at bay to find victory lane?
Yeah, I was starting to feel really good on the long run, so I was just hoping everything would stay green, and it did. So we just kept moving forward. Thankfully, tried to. I saw him come out in front of me in pit road, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to pass him. And I think he got four tires, so he just took off and tried to maintain that gap, but he just kept pulling away slowly.
Yeah, unfortunately there, he did take those four tires late in the race, and that was just enough to keep you back there at bay, keep you from, striking distance here, but the two-tire stop, good enough to keep everyone else back there behind you as you come home with a solid second-place run here, a good stage win, the pole position here, a very, very successful afternoon here from Charlotte for you, Grant, who'd you like to thank for, another great running, another great race here this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my mom and my amazing girlfriend, and then ORL Motorsports, Must Love Poodles, all the admins. I really appreciate them putting this on. It's been a really fun league so far, so I can't wait to see how it goes in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Playoffs getting started next Sunday, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very, very interesting and hopefully some good momentum here after tonight for you to head into race number one of round number one in our playoffs. Grant, congrats on the second place finish, man, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth next weekend.
Thank you, and thanks for doing the broadcast. We really appreciate it. You do a great job every weekend.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that, man. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for the 48 rider Grant Humphrey as Grant comes home in position number 2 here this evening. As Must Love Poodles in the chat says, nice race, Grant. Heck of a race, heck of a run right there for that Must Love Poodles number 48 ride. As Grant Humphrey comes home in second, we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, the 12 ride of Josh Bromfield. Hey Josh, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Hey man, how you doing?
Not too bad, Josh. Another great run, another good race here for you. Obviously, early on, just kind of keeping yourself out of trouble, trying to keep yourself, in the battle, but really not pushing the subject here. You make some good strategy calls, and then, late in this race, after some of those, caution flags through the middle portion, you find yourself jumping out in front, having this race lead. You're starting to pull away. You got the two rider Crowell there with you, and you guys continue to keep on battling here pretty much until our final green flag pit stops. You shoot down pit road a lap after he does, and unfortunately it just seemed like either a slow stop for you or a really good stop there for him, but it gives too much of a gap where you guys don't come out kind of door to door or close together, and it never allows you to really battle back up there and battle for this race win. But you're able to steal that third spot at least, back away from Casey Gross late in this one, man. Take us back through it and kind of what's going through your mind.
So, of course, the beginning of the race was kind of a rough start. First lap had a guy, I guess, spin on the takeoff and got into the back of somebody, dented my hood up. Had to do some pit, try to work on the body. And then kind of got caught up in some other incidents. But as the race went on, was able to work my way up there to the front and was running really well. I was doing pretty good at saving tires on the long run. Did get out there in the front with Corey, and then I seen him drop into the pits there at the end, and I was like, well, let me try to get one more lap and see if this one extra lap on tires would make a difference. But he was putting down some good lap times. He when I was coming out, kind of got tied up behind the 16 car and couldn't get out quite as fast. But I don't think even if I could got out faster, I mean he was dialed in. And but overall it was a great race, and just happy to be moving on to the next race and making it into the playoffs and see if we can get us a championship.
Absolutely big picture racing here tonight. Obviously trying to make sure you get yourself locked in to the playoffs here this season for the Outcast Racing League playoffs. And here tonight, a good successful run, a solid third place finish. You get locked in to that playoff battle, and now you get to go to work, man. And now with a little bit of momentum as well, some good finishes, and obviously a good run here tonight gives you that extra little bit of a boost heading into Chicagoland next weekend, man. How you feeling there about round one of the playoffs? Your chances of trying to make it through the battle and keep battling here for this championship.
I'm excited for the playoffs. I'm excited. Poor Boy Motorsports. I believe Anthony and Chris Muse also got in, so we'll have a team in there. So we'll be able to work together and strategize. And I think I'm not the best at Chicagoland, but we'll try to get a decent finish and push it on to Bristol. Bristol's one of my favorite tracks, and hopefully one or the other will have a good race, and it'll get us through to the next round. So excited to hopefully be running for a championship in the last race at Daytona.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we can't wait to see how next weekend plays out for you and see how everything else plays out here in the playoffs. But here tonight, man, a very solid top 3 run for that Poor Boy Motorsports number 12 ride. Josh, who would you like to thank for another great run, another great performance here tonight?
Yeah, ultimately, I'd like to thank my team, Poor Boy Motorsports. Without them, strategy would probably be tough. I'm not the best strategizer. Definitely like to thank Outcast Racing League for putting on great races. A lot of friendship, a lot of teamwork. I'd like to thank you, Peacemaker Gaming. Excellent broadcast. Love getting out there and watching those. Hopefully everybody's watching them back and sharing it to other people. So, but yeah, definitely Outcast Racing and my team, Poor Boy Motorsports.
Beauty. Well, Josh, heck of a run, heck of a race, man. We can't wait to see you guys back in action next Sunday from Chicagoland Speedway, and hopefully maybe some good luck, some good speed, and some good driving here from you, and maybe another trip up here into the booth next Sunday for that 12 ride. Josh, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you back out there on the Speedway.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Josh Bromfield, as Bromfield comes home here in position number 3 here this evening, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that number 12 machine. As Bromfield rounds out our top 3, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these guys put on an absolutely amazing show for us, man. Another amazing race. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of mayhem there through the middle portion, but for the most part, it was a non-stop, amazing night of racing action, man. We can't thank all of you guys enough for tuning in. All the fans in the stands going in, showing the love. Everyone with the likes on the stream, any of the comments on the stream, man, and anyone that came in and became a new subscriber here this evening. If anyone hasn't already, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys do so right now. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the amazing racing action here. Huge shout out again to all of our amazing sponsors here at the Outcast Racing League for our 10th anniversary season here. The Landon CNSB, RT3 Designs, LLC, pretty much everybody, man, that comes in, makes this possible, puts this on, man. Huge shout out to all of our weekly sponsors as well for these races here tonight. It is the ORL Motorsports. We talked about them earlier and how amazing they are. Anthony Garland, his In Real Life Motorsports group, and the amazing things that they are doing and how good they're doing in their season and here for their first season in real life racing, and being able to earn a top 5 in the point standings as a rookie and winning Rookie of the Year at one track, potentially more awards and another track there for him. So that is going to be absolutely awesome, man. A huge shout out there to ORL Motorsports here as well for this evening, and all of our other very amazing sponsors here with the Outcast Racing League to make everything possible, and to all the fans in the stands, man. We can't do this without you guys, and we can't thank you enough for tuning in and showing the love. Unfortunately, that will do it for us here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we will catch you guys back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
When it's time to fix it,
Radio, check, check. check. Still. Run the bomb through the corner. Lane up through the trial zone. Not sure why they did that. I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody to get to the bottom. We should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down. Somebody split up right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs shall walk away. It's Kurt Sponsler will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland and Garland leading the way. Show these drivers how to get it done.